Hey grade 10s, how's it going? It's bright and early on April 20th. Um, we're going to do two videos today. One I'm going to post right now, which is a lesson. The second one I will post a little later, and it will be the key to the assignment. Now, that assignment was already due. I haven't looked on Google Classroom this morning to see how many people have done it, but if it's not done, you're not getting any credit for it. So, well, I'll be marking them after I do this video. Once I have marked everybody's that is in, I will post the key. You use it to see where you went wrong, why you didn't get 15 out of 15. Okay? Let's get down to business. So, today we are going to learn a new form, point slope form, but we're going to talk about some other things first. If I wanted you to graph a function, you have three ways to do it. One, you can do a table of values. And that's what we did in the 9th grade. So if I gave you this, y minus 2x equaled 4, you could do that. You'd take your table of values, you'd give some x values, and you'd get some y values. Right? So that's one way you could do it. Now, in the 10th grade, you learned two other ways. You learned using x and y-intercepts. And you, of course, knew that there was x comma 0 and 0 comma y. And you took those values and you substituted them in there to get x's and y's. Then you learned a third version, which was slope intercept. And in slope intercept, all you did was isolate y. So this became y equal 2x plus 4, and then you had a y-intercept and a slope. And you could just graph it. Now, to do all of these, it made it really easy if all of these were nice, proper, whole numbers. But you're not stupid. You know there's millions and billions and trillions of fractions. So that makes all three of these a little difficult. You'll notice that they all have intercepts. And even when you were doing a table of values, almost every single one of you would have put x at 0 at least, right? Which means you were always using an intercept. Well, the fourth version is point slope form. And in point slope, you'll notice you don't have an intercept, you have any point. So you can use xy. You don't have to be limited to the intercepts. Now, point slope form, and I shouldn't use green because I always use green up here, so I'll switch to gray. Point slope form looks like this. Y minus y1 equals m x minus x1. Now, you're smart kids. You'll notice that in all of these equations, we had to leave a y and an x. There's a y and there's an x. But in point slope form, you'll notice there's this extra 1. This right here, this is a point on the line. So if I were to give you something in point slope form, it would look like this. Y minus 3 equaled, let's go with 3/4 x plus 2. Now you will notice there are my points that are on the line, right? Well, what does negative mean in math? Well, it means the opposite. So I need, if I were to read this, I need my y point on the line to be the opposite of what I see. Well, what do I see? -3. What do I see here? +2. So the point on the line must be -2 because it's opposite of the x I see, and +3 because it's opposite of the y I see. So there's my line, -2, +3, right there, yes? And my slope is 3/4. Now the last time we knew a slope, up here in slope-intercept form, we went to the intercept, and then we just counted the slope. Rise 2, run 1. Rise 2, run 1. 2, 1, 2, 1. Then we made the line. Well, the only difference here is now we know this point. It's right here. So then we follow the slope. Rise 3, run 4. Drop 3, run 4. And I get that line. So the key to this is we have to remember that these points are opposite. Now, I want to show you why it works. So I'm going to write another one here. Y minus 2 equals 3x plus 1. Now, most of you are going to screw this up at the beginning because you're going to say, oh, yeah, 1, 2. The point on the graph is 1, -2 because I see it right there, 1, -2. But remember, I told you it's got to be the opposite, right? Because the -y, -x, I have to use opposites. So if you did this, which is wrong, if you did this, look what would happen. That's an x, that's a y. If that's a y, what would I put there? -2, right? And if that was an x, I'd put a 1 there, right? What's -2 minus 2? Well, that's -4. What's 1 plus 1? That's 2. What's 3 times 2? 6. Is that true? No. That's why we have to use opposites. Now, so what's the actual point on the graph? Well, the actual point on the graph would be -1, +2, wouldn't it? Now, that one's right. Let's check it. That's an x. There's an x, -1. That's a 2. That's a y. There's a y, 2. What's 2 minus 2? 0. What's -1 plus 1? 0. 0 times 3 is 0. And that's right. That's why we have to remember to do opposites. So here it is. There is my point on the line. Except what do I have to remember? It's opposite. So where does the line start? Starts at -2. Starts at 1, -2. And it has a slope of -2/3. Which means I go to 1, -2. So I go to 1, -2, and I go up 2, and that way 3. Or down 2, and that way 3. From 1, -2. So that's what I want to do all the way down here. There's my point on the line. I know it's -3, 4. So I go to -3, 4, and I would go up 1 and that way 4, or down 1 and that way 4. What about this one? This one's a little trickier. What's missing? Well, there's no brackets and there's nothing there. So, but I still have this and this. So my point is -2, -1. What's my slope? Well, if there's no slope written there, it's not multiplied by anything, so that would be a 1. So I got to go to -2, 1, up 1, right 1, up 1, right 1, or down 1, left 1. What about this guy? Hey, there's no number over here. So that really means y minus 0, right? So it's negative 4, 0 is my starting point. My slope is a half. So there's my point, negative 4, 0, positive a half, so up 1, right 2, down 1, left 2. What about this one? The point, negative 5, negative 3. Slope is negative 1. So up 1, left 1, down 1, right 1. And this last one is 1, 10. And I go up 4, right 5, down 4, left 5. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. You can tell how to graph a line just by looking at it. So let's do that. Here we go. There's my x, there's my y, but I remember it's opposite. So it's negative 1, 2. So I go over to my graph, negative 1, up 2. And I'm going to zoom in on these graphs to make it easier. Negative 1, up 2. My slope is 2/3. So my m equals 2/3, which means that's my rise, and that's my run. My rise is positive, so I can go up. My run is positive, so I can go that way. Or I could go down and left. I'm going to do both. The red dot, up 1, 2, and right 1, 2, 3, takes me to there. The blue dot would be down 1, 2, and left 1, 2, 3, takes me to there. And that makes my line. Easy peasy. I'm going to zoom out 1 because that was a little too small. Or a little too big, I mean. So here we go. Graph this. What do I see? I'll wait a second for you to remember. What do I have to remember specially about this form? I have to remember that it's opposite. So my point on the graph, point P, my point equals negative 5, negative 1. 2, 3, 4, 5, down 1. And then my slope equals negative 2. But remember, negative 2 is always over 1. That's my rise. That's my run. So remember, I can go down 2 and right 1, or I could go up 2 and left 1. So up 1, 2, and left 1, or down 1, 2, and right 1. And there's my line. Easy peasy, right? Okay, so, barf. 2 lines cross at the y-axis. So I need 2 lines that are perpendicular. So line 1 is going to be green right here. 2x minus y plus 8 equals 0. How do I graph that? Well, I see y is almost by itself. 2x plus 8 equals y. Is y alone now? Yes. So I know that this y equals mx plus b. There's my b. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And my slope is 2. So that's up 2 over 1. Oh, that's going off the graph. So I'm going to go down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1, down 2 over 1. How long could I do this? I could do it forever. And there is line 1. Now, what do I know about line 2? I know 2 things about it. 1, it's perpendicular. And 2, they cross at the y-axis. So they're going to cross right there. So I know its y-intercept is 8. Well, perpendicular means it's got an opposite and reciprocated slope, right? So line 2 must have an opposite and reciprocated slope. Well, this is 2 over 1, so this must be negative 1/2 plus 8. Down 1, right 2, down 1, right 2, and there we go. Now, you're smart kids. Tell me this equation, but I want to use that point. So that point is 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 4, 6. So how do I take that point and have this equation? Well, that would be y minus 6 equal negative 1/2 x minus 4. And then I'd be in point slope form. And I'd be good to go. And believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, that's it. That's all there is to it. So here's your work, as always. Now, let's talk about it a little bit. All of these up to number 10 are x and y, easy peasy. Number 10 gets a little weird. Notice it doesn't have x's and y's, it's got temperatures and times. Now, we already talked about this a little bit, okay? Actually, I have to make sure we talked about this a little bit. I need to go. Actually, I don't think we did. So I'm going to tell you over here, temperature equals x and speed equals y. And now you can work that out because you have all the points you need. Okay, so again, this is page 155 to 155 to 160. So for PD 10, it's pages 155 to 160. And for FOM 10, it's pages 140 to 145, I believe. FOM 10, pages 140 to 145. Indeed, we are correct. Alrighty, so remember, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to do this work. I am going to post a second video in a little while with the key to the assignment you did, and your Google Classroom will have your score to that assignment. Alrighty? Okay, hopefully we'll see some of you tomorrow at one of my 2 hangouts. See you later. Bye.